Hello and welcome to the Album Man, and today I'm finally going to be doing CDs and vinyl I bought recently for June 2014. So it was only about a week ago, well more than a week probably, that maybe 10 days ago that I did my CDs and vinyl I bought recently for May, but I've been having to catch up. So yes, here it is for June. We're getting back on track, and then in August we can do it for July. So, some pretty good pickups, I would say, in June. I would say it was a pretty good month indeed. So, we'll start with the vinyl. There is not that much vinyl, just a few. So, one classic album I managed to get on vinyl, which is an album I've been really wanting, is Skid Row's first debut self-titled album. Skid Row, great band, in my opinion. Well, certainly in the classic, when they had Sebastian back, I really think they were fantastic, sort of hair metal, glam metal, whatever you want to call it type stuff, but good, you know, not too dissimilar to Guns N' Roses, which are of course my favourite band of all time, and songs like 18 and Life, You've Gone Wild, I Remember You, Midnight Tornado, classic stuff, really is. Now, I just managed to find in Liverpool a new record shop, where it's like in the basement of this clothes shop, and it was a bit odd, but managed to find it, and I picked up a couple of things. It was quite interesting. So I found something really cool. I haven't listened to it yet, but G-Force. Now, G-Force, and this is their album, I'm going to guess, called G-Force. Now, all I know about this is that it has Gary Moore in it. That's literally all I know, is it has Gary Moore, and apparently it's split into side 7 and side 8. So, yeah, that's a bit odd. But there's Gary Moore right there. His hair is a bit dodgy then, but I mean, I love Gary Moore. He's one of my favourite guitarists of all time. So I tend to pick up anything that he is on. Now, in another bid to have a full collection of Bob Dylan albums, I had to. I had no choice but to pick up Saved. This, I can tell you, is not one of his best albums. If you're a Bob Dylan fan, thinking, where should I start? And you see this album, don't start here. This is not the place to start. It's not the place to end. It's not the album to really ever listen to. This was released in 1980. I think this is certainly part of his Christine trilogy. I have one of the others, Slow Train, coming, and I don't have the third one. I've forgotten what that's called. I might listen to this again, maybe. It's not good, but I want to have a full Dylan collection. I think he's a very interesting artist and definitely one of my favourites, so why not? It wasn't expensive. Okay, so on to the CDs. Okay, so the first one is, the last review I did was of Barry Palmer's Night Thoughts, which Barry Palmer sent me for free to review, so that was really cool. Big thank you to him for that. And if you want to see my thoughts on that album, then check out the review. Now, a couple of albums here, new releases that I can't talk about. I have to keep my lips shut, because I'm going to be reviewing them in detail, a lot of detail, but I'll show them. So, Rival Sons, Great Western Valkyrie, and I got both of these signed. Let me just see if I can see the signed copies. Yeah, they're just here. Oops, things fallen down. But yes, I got both these albums signed, which is cool. So here's the signed bit of Rival Sons that was available on their label's website, Earache. And also, so Anathema's Distant Satellites, Anathema's new album obviously, and the booklet signed by the band. Now, if you can see it, there's only 3 signatures, and there's more than 3 people in Anathema. Weirdly, a couple of them, well, someone decided to sign there, weirdly, and I think that's it. Yeah, so I don't really know. And I can't make out any of their signatures. I have no bloody idea whose is who, but there you go. They just look like scribbles to me. It's a very easy signature to fake, I would say. So, that's the new stuff. Can't comment on that, but there will be full, detailed, long reviews coming out soon about those in the next week, I hope. So let's move on to an album that I bought it for a particular reason, and then well, I'll say. This is 100 Reasons album, Ideas Above Our Stations. Now, why did I buy this album? I bought it for a number of reasons. Firstly, because these guys were playing this album at Sonosphere its entirety, and I went to Sonosphere 2014. The second reason was this was like a quid. It was like 1p and then 126 postage, so 127. So I thought, oh, I'll pick it up, see if it's any good, give it a listen. So I gave it a listen. It was alright. I thought, oh, I might see them. But then Black Spiders, I think, were playing at the same time. So it's like, actually, I think I'll just go and see Black Spiders. So I didn't even end up seeing these guys. It's not a great album. I don't know if I'll ever listen to it again. But there you go. It can rot in my collection, I suppose. Didn't exactly cost much. A gamble, but not that successful a one. An album that certainly wasn't a gamble that, I've been wanting for a while. Opeth's Damnation. So, Opeth in the early 2000s, they released two, effectively a double album almost, in the same way as like Kid A and Amnesiac, not together, but separate of Deliverance and Damnation. And they're very different albums. I mean, Deliverance has growling vocals, it's the heavy, dark Opeth you sort of expect from that period. While Damnation is all clean vocals. It's the first Opeth album to have all clean vocals, and it really is a good album. Hope Leaves, Window Pane, and Death Whispered a Lullaby are a few of my favourite tracks from the album. And it's definitely an album I like a lot. I prefer this to Heritage when it comes to the clean vocal Opeth albums, though Pale Communion, I don't know, even though it has leaked. I'm not going to listen nor review it until it officially comes out. I'm hoping to pre-order that one. I'd like to hear it on my hi-fi system the first time I listen to that. But Damnation, definitely an Opeth album worth checking out. And this was in the Manchester Record Exchange shop. These next couple are from that as well. So I also bought the Deftones Koi no Yoken. So yeah, I went to see them at Sonosphere, so I thought I'd pick up what was their latest, well, what is currently the latest album, released in 2012. And I really like this. I really like the later Deftones. Diamond Eyes is my favourite of their albums. I do like their early stuff. I mean, I think White Pony is fantastic. I like Around the Fair, but when you get before Around the Fair, like Adrenaline, I don't like Adrenaline particularly, but Around the Fair is decent. But yeah, I really like this album. Stuff like, let's see, Swerve City, Levers, Tempest is a fantastic song. Poltergeist as well, Rosemary. It's just a very strong album. End to End really is a strong album. I can't wait to see what these guys put out next. I really can't. And I have most of their albums now, as you'll see. In my season vinyl I bought recently for July, I picked up a couple. So, now these next ones are very interesting because I picked them up at £1 each at a car boot sale. And this was one of the greatest car boot stores I've ever been to. In fact, I went back a week later and picked up some wonderful stuff that you'll see in my July update. I support that, well, in July. But this stuff, bear in mind this is £1 each. The value of this is far over the £6 I paid, trust me. In fact, what I paid for all of what I paid for all of these is just the price of this album alone. One of the albums I've been wanting the absolute most is Joe Bonamassa's The Ballad of John Henry. Because it's weird. I mean, my dad has a lot of the Joe Bonamassa albums, so I've heard all of them basically, except for this one. This is one he didn't have, one I didn't have. I'd listened to, of course, Ballad of John Henry, and that was it. I was very unfamiliar, considering most people call this his pinnacle, the greatest of his works, his best album. And I'd never heard it. As a big Joe Bonamassa fan, it seems a bit odd. So now I have, and I can tell you, I don't think it's his best album. I personally still prefer Slow Gin, and I would say even Blues Deluxe, and A New Yesterday Live. I'd still say is my favourite Joe album. As much as I like Live at the Royal Albert, it's just something so raw about New Yesterday Live. There really is, even though a lot of his best songs haven't been written. This, though, is still a fantastic album. You really can't go wrong with this. The title track, Last Kiss, Lonesome Road Blues is great. As the Crow Flies. So it really is a good album. I'd say the weakest track is Feeling Good. I'm sorry, but after Muse's cover of Feeling Good, like, just no other version of Feeling Good. It's just like, I just don't care about any other versions. And okay, Bonamassa's version's good, but Easy Lister did one last year, I remember, and that wasn't, you know, as good as Muse's. Muse owned that song, basically. Another Pound album, which a bit of a bloody bargain. Catatonia's Tonight's Decision, a couple of bonus tracks as well, No Devotion and Fractured, which is cool. So yes, haven't got around to listening to this one yet, but I really like Catatonia. I think the Last Fair Deal Gone Down, it's just wonderful. I really enjoyed Dead End Kings and the direction they're going in with that. And I even quite liked Jonas Rensk's project with Bruce Seord, I never know how to say his name, with Pineapple Thief, which was Wisdom of Crowds. An interesting, more electronic record. I'd recommend giving a listen on Spotify or something, not one I'd maybe recommend to buy though. But a lot of people talk about this album, but it's meant to be good. This is earlier, so who knows? Well, I will soon. I'll leave this one to a little bit actually. Okay, so one of my favourite prog bands at the moment, and a band I saw live earlier this year who were just wonderful, is Riverside. Their 2013 album Shrine of New Generation Slaves, one of the best prog albums of 2013, and genuinely is just fantastic end to end. So when I saw a couple of their albums, bear in mind, their albums are usually quite expensive, we're talking about a tenner each, for £1 each, I was not going to be resisting buying Second Life Syndrome and Rapid Eye Movement, and especially the deluxe 2-disc version of Rapid Eye Movement. Well, I think it's deluxe, if it's not, oh well, but it's a pretty cool version of Rapid Eye Movement. I'm pretty sure the standard version isn't 2-disc. So, yeah, that is pretty damn cool. To get these for £2, this is 20 quid's worth or more of album, and Riverside are just such a wonderful band. A band I decided to pick up on a whim because I've heard of them. I mean, I always hear as the sort of the Peaceville trilogy. You have Anathema, their earlier Death Doom stuff, funny to think of that now, Catatonia, and you have My Dying Bride, and I've never listened to My Dying Bride before. So I saw this album for £1, The Light at the End of the World. I'd never heard of this album before, knew nothing about it, picked it up, listened to it, and wow, is it interesting. This is some, I mean, I wasn't expecting, there's so many long songs. I mean, there's 3 songs over 10 minutes, a couple of 7-minuters in there. Oh my god, it's a long album, but damn, has it got some wonderful doomy riffs to it. It's got some harsher vocals, some clean. It's a very interesting album, and definitely a band I want to check out more. So tell me, where do you think, if you're My Dying Bride fan, what album would you next recommend? And also, what do you think of this one? How would you say this rates in their discography? I'd be interested to know. An album, well, I'll get to a classic album I was not impressed with in a second, but this was actually something I bought from Manchester Exchange. This is Deep Purple's Fireball. Of course, this is the 25th anniversary expanded version, so this is pretty cool. I like the Deep Purple remasters. I have the Machine Head one, the In Rock one, and the Made in Japan one. So yeah, Fireball, I found a lot of people consider the title track to be the first ever speed metal track. I'm not so sure, but it's certainly an influential album in metal, without a doubt, and hard rock. Now this is an album I picked up for £1 at the same car boot person. This is Dark Throne's Transylvanian Hunger. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you may know that Dark Throne are not a band you might think that I would like. I'm not really into black metal. The furthest into black metal I tend to get is Woods of Eep, their earlier stuff, I suppose, which is more black metal. The odd bit of Behemoth, but they seem always a bit more death metal to me. And I suppose Caladan Brood, a band I enjoy of black metal, but in general, I'd never call myself a black metal. Oh, Agalloch, I really like Agalloch, but again, they're more atmospheric and they have a lot of cleans in it. This doesn't have a lot of cleans in it. This is, well, as it says on the back, true Norwegian black metal, and I have no reason to question this. The main problem with this is the production is probably some of the worst I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, was this produced by Squirrel or something? Because it's just awful. Like, a deaf 5-year-old could have probably done a better job with this version. I don't know about other versions, but this version sounds like crap. You can't hear the drums. The drums are so low in the mix, and the bass drum is just basically inaudible. Certainly through like headphones, and I was listening to this in the car, it was just appalling. You can hear the cymbals well, and the vocals I really dislike the vocals on this album. But that's not, and just the production, I don't like the songs, I don't like the production, I don't like the vocals. I do not like this album. Dark Throne, and not a band I'm going to be investigating. Whilst it was a quid, it was a fun gamble, and you know, I think that's part of the fun. I've always been, you know, if something's cheap, I just pick it up for the sheer fun of it. I've discovered many a wonderful album through that way, and I've also discovered many a dud. And this will stay in my collection, but not be a disc I often play. This has been the Album Man. Thank you for watching Season Final, but recently for June 2014. And there's only one more thing to say, and that is long live rock and roll.